Hey guys, welcome to question MM288 of the Maths Methods Fortify study guide. Now in this question we've got the derivative function g dash of x and it's shown as a parabola here. The integral of g dash of x is equal to g of x plus c. The equation g of x plus c equals 0 has three solutions and the possible range of values of c is. Alright, pretty big mouthful, but let's just work through it. So, first things first is to figure out the equation of g dash of x, right? Because we're not going to be able to figure out g of x if we don't have g dash of x. So we can actually kind of look at this and say that g dash of x is a negative parabola and it passes through x equals -2, so x plus 2, then x take 4. That's just based on our graph. You could even say that there's a dilation factor outside here and then solve for that and find this equation, or you can sub in -2, 0, 0, 8 and 4, 0 into a simultaneous equation solver on your CAS and you will get this as well. But let's just for now say that g dash of x is equal to this based on the graph, which it is. So therefore g of x is equal to the integral of that, so negative x plus 2 x take 4 dx. Now because this is a multiple choice question, I would simply just do this straight into my CAS, which gives me negative x cubed over 3 plus x squared plus 8x plus c, and that's my g of x. Awesome. Now, what we're going to do is, actually, you know what, I can probably just do it up here. So, this is our c value, right? Because we've got g of x plus c, and we need to figure out possible, actually, you know what, let's just draw this graph, because otherwise it's going to be too hard for me to explain. So, I would then grab this, assume that c is equal to 0 for now, because we're going to need to add c either way. So if we assume that it's 0, then we can add it either way. And what this graph looks like when this equals c is something like this. Okay? This point here is, can I get rid of this? Yes. This point here is -2, -28 on 3. And this point here is 480 on 3. Awesome. So this is when c equals 0, right? But we're looking for the range of possible values of c for which this has three solutions, or g of x plus c equals 0 has three solutions. Now what this means is, when this equals 0, that means that we're on our x-intercepts, right? We have, because this is what we're talking about, y values here. So when y values equal 0, that's when we have our x-intercepts. So at the moment we have three x-intercepts, or three solutions as the question calls them. Whenever you say solutions, that means x-intercepts when you're equaling g of x to 0. And we want to keep it that way, right? But so that means that we can move the graph up by no more than -28, well, 28 on 3 units up, and we'll still have three solutions until we hit 28 on 3, at which case the turning point will be here, which means that's 1, and then we'll come back down, which is another 1, which is only 2, right? So we can only move our graph up a maximum of 28 on 3 units. Likewise, we can only move our graph down 80 on 3 units before it gets to 2 solutions instead of 3, which means that our c value, we can move it up by 28 on 3, or down by 80 on 3, and no more than either of these, which means that c, we can take away 80 on 3 to move it down, and we can move it up by 28 on 3. So we can add 28 on 3, which means that c has to be between -80 on 3 and 28 on 3. Because if we move it down further than that, it's going to go down past and no longer have three solutions. If we move it more than 28 on 3 up, this turning point is going to go above that axis and we're going to have less than three solutions, which means this is our final answer, giving us our option of C. And we also need to make sure that we don't include these values, because if we do include them, then they're going to have two x-intercepts instead of 3. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, that's it for this question. So let's move on to the next one. See you then.